Okay, guys. So today we have exciting episode with Chase Coffman. So we want to shout out before we start the show. We want to shout out to Aspen Funds because we're shooting at the Aspen Funds office, and Chase Coffman, incredible guest today. There's a lot of things, right, which is amazing about him. But one big achievement, right? He was playing in NFL, and it doesn't happen a lot with people, so it's a huge. And in 2009, he was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
Good, and that was one of the probably like a huge events of the life. And then he'd been playing in all different Buccaneers team, right? He was playing for Indianapolis Colts and then a bunch of other teams. But again, there's things we want to share. So Chase, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and it's always an honor to make good connections like Igor, and like you said, it's good to be here.
So, as usual, we want to start and we want to lead with sports. That's what we love, and then being a big part of NFL. Chase, can you take us on a journey? How's that all started? Because the usual statistics that there's 50% of the families who actually have a sports background. And then there's another 50% who never play sport. I'm talking about parents, right? And then who never play sports, and then they happen to be loving sport, and the child like evolved into something new, and then actually succeeded on a big way. So, and then Chase is coming from the family background. So his dad was playing in NFL. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you start with that and then give us some more?
Yeah. So at a young age, I'm the oldest of four. All four of us kids, we love playing sports, and praise the Lord, we're naturally just gifted at that. Everybody's been given natural God-given gifts, some, other things, and some like us. Again, praise the Lord, sports was it for us. My dad played in the NFL for the Green Bay Packers for most of his career.
Wow.
Was a 3-time Pro Bowler and is now in the Packers Hall of Fame. My mom, everybody asks, she had to have been some amazing athlete too, but she was not.
She was not?
No, but both of my parents, I feel like, did a great job of raising us. Number one, pointing us towards Jesus Christ as Lord, and then encouraging us and supporting us in the things that we did do, which ended up being sports for all four of us. We all got to play at Division I schools. All three of us boys in football, and my sister in volleyball. So from a young age, again, it was, football was kind of the love, and my parents actually wouldn't let me play until 6th grade. And that's when my dad started playing. That's when he felt like for us, it was an age where you could understand the technique of the game as well as how to protect yourself, because we may get into this, but football is 100% injury rate, and there's a lot of injuries that can happen if you play long enough.
Yeah, and I would use that word, it's a violent sport, because people like smash each other, right? And 40 miles per hour, they running like crazy and stuff. So speaking of that football, and can you take us on the journey? How was the university life? Would you be like one of the famous guys on the campus, and everybody, I know this guy, he plays for a team, and then I want to talk to him, or maybe just get friends with him? How was that university?
So I out of high school got the opportunity to go to the University of Missouri. So the in-state school, there's a lot of guys that were actually in this Kansas City area that were getting recruited in that same recruiting class, and that was one of the big factors for me, and even choosing Mizzou along with a few other things. But got to go there, got to have some early success playing my freshman year, and really had a great group of guys on the team that were great team leaders. We had a great coaching staff, and things kind of really hit stride from my freshman to my sophomore to my junior year.
Yeah.
At which time we became number one in the country at one point after winning some big games. And like I said, it wasn't by any means just me. We had a great group of guys around that everybody was kind of pulling their weight and doing that at a very high level. So definitely comes with some notoriety on campus. And I say this a lot. My wife is my high school sweetheart. So we dated from high school, college, and through my NFL career. When we got married after my second year in the NFL. And I tell people she kept me out of a lot of trouble in college. So,
Oh yeah, I bet she did.
yeah, it was a blessing and a really good experience. And again, kind of led to the opportunity to get drafted and play in the NFL.
Okay, so I want to go back to 2009.
Yeah.
And again, that's my understanding of the world, like being drafted. So there's millions of kids playing sports every single day, and the final goal is being drafted by somebody like MLB, NBA, you name it. So that's incredible. It's like one of the millions chances you're going to get drafted, actually, right? I think people do not realize how rare is that to get drafted. And then, like, example will be like, there's only 500 people playing in NBA. Only 500 people. Like, and if you calculate the thing, I think there's easier to win Powerball ticket than just to get drafted. So, and that's a reality. And the challenge is, I want to talk about the challenge. The challenge is, as a professional athlete, when you there in that environment, you don't really realize how big of the achievement you actually did. And then can you talk about that?
Yeah. So kind of leading up to that moment, had a really great college career and the opportunity to get drafted. I was a consensus All-American my senior year. I won the tight end award, the John Mackey Award, which was I would say really big, like personal achievement for me in college football, and kind of leading into like, okay, now here's your chance to go to the NFL, to get drafted, to be one of, each year I think the number is just a little bit different depending on like compensatory picks of the NFL draft, but like 256 guys out of college get drafted into the NFL and to be one of those, and I don't know the exact stats, but like you mentioned, Igor, very, very small chances of kids that start at a young age, or even in high school and college, that it gets slimmed down, cut down, and finally, you get drafted. And when you get drafted, it's not like, hey, you made it.
That's the thing.
You then have to report to training camp and continue to prove yourself. And a lot of people say it's, NFL not for long, or no fun league, and all this other stuff. The average career is about 3 years in the NFL. And like you mentioned, I played for a number of different teams, 6 teams over 8 seasons, and got cut 12 times. So each time was like fighting and clawing and scrapping and going back to kind of the playbook of, hey, you got to keep staying in shape, keep doing the things that you can control and be consistent in those for when that team calls and says, hey, we want to bring you in for a tryout. We want to bring you in for a workout.
Absolutely.
And for me, kind of having that All-American and, John Mackey Award under my belt was like, I'm going to be one of the first couple rounds. And I had broke my foot in our bowl game. And so I didn't do any working out at the combine, didn't do any workout at the pro day, which is still pre-draft workouts for all the coaches, front office, scouts, GMs, like people to kind of see like, hey, is everything that we see on film, is that going to be translatable to what we want you to do here? So I kind of had to sit on the sidelines and watch that and just hear people say like, well, these are the good things about Chase and these are the bad things about Chase. And I can't, other than saying, no, that's not true. Or like, yeah, that's right. I could just kind of sit there and try to focus on my rehab process. And it wasn't as exciting and as fun as it's built up to be when you say like, hey, you got drafted in the NFL. Like that should be a really big day. So, I finally got that call, ended up being the last pick in the 3rd round of the 2009 draft to the Cincinnati Bengals. And from there, it was like, I still got a chip on my shoulder and I got to go in and prove myself and pick up hopefully right where I left off from college football. And like I said, with getting cut 12 times, that didn't quite happen, but looking back, it was a really neat journey and a blessing to kind of go through all of that and have that, just neat dream achieved of playing in the NFL for 8 seasons.
Oh, listen, this is an incredible story. So, and just when you say in 8 seasons, it's already way above the average, right? And then The next point I want to touch, there's certain things you build as like you do in professional sports, right? There's certain things, there's certain takeaways you bring to the life. If you have to choose one thing, what do you think the most important thing was taken from the professional sports into and applied into the life after sports? What do you think one thing is that?
So, I mean, I would always, so number one, I mean, my faith in Jesus Christ, I mentioned that. That's something that I try to rely on and kind of lean on just throughout everything in life. After that is just like there's two things that you can control: your attitude and your effort. So whatever you're doing, just keep controlling those things, because there's a lot of just right time, right place in life. And when you control your attitude and your effort and being diligent and like the little things that lead up to, those right place, right time moments, then you're ready for it. So as my career kind of went in the NFL, I was a backup a lot of that time. And so I had to prepare like I was going to be playing, because if somebody got hurt, if somebody got hurt, then I might have to step in and play. And that would be my opportunity to keep getting another contract or keep getting more.
And B, it's like when somebody get hurt. It's not if. It's like,
you're right.
It's going to be like, it's for sure going to happen, but
you just don't know if it's today or this
tomorrow.
Week. But like you mentioned, Igor, I mean, people, I guess it's not that much of a joke, but jokingly say the NFL is 100% injury rate. You're going to get hit or hurt.
No matter of time.
Not if, but when.
I think that's a great response. And then the next point is the biggest, and let's pick the numbers right now, right? Those are the numbers from internet. I don't make up the numbers. I like the quote, like, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Yeah. So there's average career time frame, right? The duration of career is at 2.9 years. So the bankruptcy rate, 78% of the people who played NFL. If you take all the major leagues, like all of them, MLB, NBA, right, NFL, NHL, this is the highest bankruptcy rate by far. That's one. But then the time frame, the shortest, like within 2 years, I'm talking about average again, right?
Correct.
Number one, you're making the minimum off of those 4 leagues. You only make an average 2.9 million through the 4 years career. I'm probably 4.3, like you said.
Yeah, gross. That's a gross number too. Like you have to pay taxes on that.
Yeah, it's probably like a million.
Usually the highest tax rate.
Yeah. So basically, you left off with a million, maybe a million and a half. So, but then you got 2 years and you broke like it's like almost 80%. I cannot even comprehend that number. And then what can you do? What do you think? Because you are at a different position right now. Like when you were playing, how did you start it? Again, a lot of things came from your family.
Yes.
So what do you think for the people who has no support? And a lot of times they don't, right? So can you tell us a little bit more about how would you start that transition and how you survive that? How do you not going to make to that statistics, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we talk about some of the most important things in life enough, and money is one of those things. As you mentioned, I got into financial advising, financial planning in my second career. I think the other things are like sex and religion. We don't talk about them enough, and so you don't really have a right way of navigating that unless somebody tells you, and you have to trust that person that they are telling you what is right,
the right thing,
and what's your baseline and what right or wrong is. So for me, my parents did a great job, and you said people that maybe don't have the right upbringing or backgrounds and money. My parents did a good job of just like for starters, just don't spend more than you're taking in. Kind of have a good plan, just like you did in football, like a playbook. Hey, you're going into a game, you kind of know what to expect. You know what your paycheck is going to be, roughly. You know what you're guaranteed and what is like, hey, you have to be on the roster next week to make the next paycheck. Or if there's more guaranteed, what you can kind of go off of. And for me, that was finding, a financial advisor and somebody that I felt like I could trust in that area to kind of lead and direct. Now, we may get into it a little bit later, but this financial advisor ended up not doing some of the best things, which was a kick in the pants for me to get into this for my second career. But surrounding myself with and asking questions to people who had been there before me, who were doing different things with their money, and kind of seeing where that applied to my life. So sometimes things don't always apply to your life, but the more you ask questions, the better you kind of have an understanding or knowledge of that whole realm of, in this case, money. And so basing my my knowledge on that stuff and the people that were around me.
Yeah, thank you, Chase. I want to repeat one thing. So, number one rule about the money, it's like live beyond your means. I mean, if you can do that, you're already a wealthy person. Why? Because you got so much cash stack up every month, every year. Just look at yourself 10 years from now if you stack up a certain amount, right? But discipline. It's not about, like, you can make $1, right? If you can stack up 50 cents off of the $1, right? It's going to grow. It's going to compound and grow.
Yeah.
And then the other thing Chase was talking about, the family could be good and bad. Number one reason, statistically again.
Correct.
So the people start to support and listen for advice from extended family members.
Not always extended family members, but just like, and now we have, things like this podcast, other ways to go seek out knowledge when I was in college, that wasn't the case. When I was starting in the NFL, wasn't necessarily the case, but you can go research, how to invest. What does a conservative portfolio look like of, market stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs? What is an aggressive or anything in between? What do, real estate investments look like? And you can find people and seek out those people and their advice, whether it's, person to person or just looking at some of the information that they've put out. So I would say, live within your means. And that like big egg or big paycheck at that time is really big. So don't feel like you have to live up to the paycheck. Just live within, what you can control, and like, hey, you don't have to eat beans and rice necessarily and live in a dump, but don't get, the Cadillac Escalade of things until you have a base of like, if I get cut this year and I don't have guaranteed money to, stack away and fund 5 to 10 years of my life, maybe you get something that's a little bit less.
Gotcha.
And then, extended family, that's sometimes one of the biggest detriments to people losing that money and going broke. So not always
say no. That's the thing, right? That's your family member. They come up emotionally to you, right? A lot of, and again, maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of times you just cannot say no, which is one good thing to learn, right? To be very.
And I've heard it and told people this a lot since getting into this career, is like it's like being on a plane. What do they tell you the first thing if your oxygen mask comes out? Put it on yourself so that you can then help others, not help others because then you may pass out. So you got to make sure that you're filled up enough. So in this situation in the NFL, make sure that you are planning for yourself. Right. And then out of that overflow, you can be generous to, giving to charities, helping family out, whatever that looks like. But if your nest egg dries up, then you can't help anybody.
Yeah, that's a key point. So I want to touch another thing. So it's, I think I hear that time and time again, being professional, speaking to professional, like the guys, again, you surround yourself with the same people. So, oh, you know what? I want to focus just on sport. If I focus on something else, I lose performance on the field, which might be true to extent. But what would you say to people? Go and learn, right? Get a little bit more sophisticated financially before you actually delegate it to somebody else, right? What do you think? How can they start being still a professional player,
Yeah.
how can they start to get a little bit more into the financial game itself?
Yeah, so I mean that's hard and tricky because if you don't have a habit of studying or looking or researching, then it's hard to just like cold turkey, like, hey, I'm really interested in this. So I would say if you have financial, I mean, all NFL people have financial advisors,
Yeah.
that are willing to knock on the door. Find somebody that's going to educate you, so that it's going to talk you through the why you're doing
That's a good
this,
point.
this. Why you shouldn't be going and doing that yet, or when the right time to go do that, whatever that is maybe appropriate, or set different things up for yourself or your family is appropriate. Because at some points, like, I mean, there's a lot of different investment vehicles. There's a lot of different, even like estate planning and you can tax planning and all the things that you can get into, but are you ready for that yet? And I think a lot of people try to say like, well, I want to be in that boat, but it's like, you haven't really built the base yet to go start doing those other things. And in this career, in the NFL and professional sports, it's very volatile. And, like, the paycheck that comes today is not going to be guaranteed tomorrow always, right? So you got to kind of go off of what is guaranteed, and then let's plan if that's the last guarantee, knowing that, there's a lot of opportunity ahead, but let's not go count our chickens before they hatch.
Good point. So there's a big problem, right? Again, so you think it's going to last forever. Like when you there, like you present, you playing, you feel like, and it's like a little artificial life, I would say. That was my experience. And then you feel like it's going to keep coming and coming. But really, in reality, right, again, look at the numbers. So it might just be done tomorrow and you don't know. And what I hear from you, find somebody who will tell you what's not working, not somebody who's saying, oh, this works, let's put this money in there.
Yeah.
Find somebody who's going to educate you, right, and tell you, this is not working, don't do this, right? Because they're going to be like really spending the time on walking you through the process, right, and telling you why they do this thing. So they educate you first, right?
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
And that can be multiple people, right? Yeah. Like, from multiple different like sectors, real estate, marriage counseling. I mean, that's, you talk about different things on, investing, and money is a big part of it. But a lot of, that 80% that goes broke, or 78%, whatever the exact number is, like within 2 years, they're also divorced. And divorce is a major, detriment to your your nest egg as well.
Major downturn, right?
Yeah.
Financial, emotional, financial. Like there's so many application of that.
And then just like, again, kind of knowing your risk tolerance and what you're leveraging, because you don't want to go into something that is like very, very volatile, where you could lose a lot of money when you've already hit this jackpot of making it to the NFL. And this is your big, maybe not always, but this is your big money making opportunity. And there's this like, big lottery winning opportunity at the beginning of life. And people usually don't make that money until kind of late 40s, 50s.
Absolutely.
Right. And so there's this inverse of what that looks like, that you can supplement or fund, up to that point, or the rest of your life, or retirement, whatever you kind of want, but just knowing what that plan is.
So I got a question about, let's say you made it, I'm talking about yourself right now. So you made it to NFL. So tell us when did you start actually investing the money? So is it like a year one? So did you wait a little bit? So was it before NFL? Maybe you made some in like being in university still. So can you just tell us a little bit about your personal experience on the investing side? Was it real estate? Was it stocks? Where you stay though?
Yeah. So most of it was just the stock market. And for me, my knowledge wasn't that great about it. I had a financial advisor that I trusted for those things. That's something that I look back on and like, I should have been probably more engaged in that and done more research and found out a little bit more on my side of how that all works better. But I really didn't get into real estate. It was It was just the stock market, and kind of from day one, I got a signing bonus, and then once the season started getting weekly paychecks.
Yeah.
And so that was at that time 17 weeks of the season, 16 games, one bye week, and that was all you got paid until the next season started.
Wow.
And so
you got a gap in between, right?
Huge gap.
Huge gap.
So what my wife and I kind of decided was, here is our budget. This is what we're going to live off of each month. We can spend it all, or we can save it, whatever. But the rest of it, the majority of it, is going to go into this account over here that will be invested conservatively. And as that grows, then you can maybe take a little bit more risk on the top end.
Yeah.
But right now, we're building a buffer for, when that day may come that you may never get a call again and never play football again, and you have to transition to life after sports. And for me, it was always kind of chasing that and building that pile in my career. Some people, and I'll say like a first round draft pick, you get a signing bonus that is enough that you will never have to work again.
Wow. What is that number?
Well, I think this is all public information, but
no, like today's number, was that 10 million?
Today's number, I think the top pick in the draft got maybe 36, 37 million, fully guaranteed over 4 years.
Oh, it's like a fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the last pick in the first round, the 32nd pick, is probably around like 15 to 18, fully guaranteed.
But when you're saying a signing bonus, it's like a one-time payment in the beginning when you sign?
The signing bonus is when you sign, that money is fully guaranteed to you.
Okay, gotcha.
Sometimes it's structured a little bit differently on the payout, maybe over 2 years, or different ways that they kind of manipulate the salary cap on that situation. But pretty quickly, you have a big lump sum in your bank account that you get to figure out what to do with, whether it's yourself or with trusted people around you to help you with that.
So what I hear you saying, so on the day one, like you were so persistent, thorough, understanding what's going on, and you said, so here's you even telling people it's like a 17 weeks, or you said
17 weeks,
yeah. Right?
So now, I think now it's 18 weeks that you get a paycheck.
Yeah. And then you were like, okay, I got a budget. So for all was the numbers, and this is what's going to go on the back end, because I know it's going to come. It's like, it will come. Like, there's no way it's not going to come, right? And then what would you say to the people who's like joining right now and like super excited, and they're buying Lambo on the first paycheck, right? Or they're buying like a mansion?
Yeah. Again, kind of back to the like, hey, just slow it down. Enjoy having that money. And you don't have to make quick decisions on this, right? Because you never know what next year, much less next week is gonna come up with. So, hey, look, if you make it down a couple years and you have those trusted people around you, and in the financial situation, you can say, well, let's project what it looks like to spend this money on a consistent basis. Is that something that can be sustainable? Or do I have to make Pro Bowls? Do I have to be a Hall of Fame? Do I have to get that next big contract and make X amount to make that happen? And the odds of making it to the NFL are pretty slim. So what are the odds of getting that next big contract? And again, kind of back to, let's not count our chickens before they hatch. Let's just go off of what we have and then slowly step into those things, because I think for men, your brain is usually not like fully developed until 24, 25, 26. And most people are not getting drafted at that age in today's day and age. So a lot of immature decisions can be made. And again, kind of why you kind of go around and say, like, I need to surround myself with people that know about this. And can I trust them? And that's a hard process too.
I mean, listen, that's a challenge, right? And then I think in today's world, what is your vision? So what is your idea on, like, what do you do right now? What's your business? So where are you going with that, I would say?
Yeah, so the company that I work for is BMG Advisors here in Kansas City, Missouri. We help people with comprehensive financial planning. That's taking everything that you got and kind of planning again long term for that, or whatever those financial goals are for you. And that really helps us have a better idea of what investments you need to do, and finding what those are, putting you in that, and making sure that we're continuing to stay up to date on your life, because what is today is not going to be what is in 6 months. It may be, you may still have the same goals, but I mean, people live and have kids, have job, career changes, all the things. And so making sure that, we're staying up to date and helping you manage that well and stay on top of that and be that trusted person on your side is what we do. We have a team of 20 right now here in Kansas City that help with all aspects of that. And it's been a joy to, like I said earlier, talking to a very, very intimate and important aspect of people's lives. So it's an honor to be trusted with that.
That's incredible. I think we're going towards the end. And Chase, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. And thank you. I think people will learn a lot, especially the guys who's currently in the sports, right, or around the sports, or maybe looking forward into the NBA draft, like NFL draft, whatever the draft for them. And I think it's a lot of wisdom to be shared. And thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.